は宇宙を救うぜ。
君のハートをポロポロしちゃうぞ。
Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another video. And today I'd like to give my thoughts on the Eden Zero anime now that the first 12 episodes of the English dub has released on Netflix. And actually you have up to episode 20 subbed, which you can find online with a quick search. And I'm a huge fan of Eden Zero, particularly the manga. I've actually read through the first 11 volumes of the manga twice now. And there's a playlist on my channel of single issue reviews of each volume. And I love the series. It's fantastic. I wish I would have heard about Hiro Mashima before this, but I was a little late to the manga party. And I started reading this back in, I want to say, April or May. And, of course, Mashima, the great creator behind Rave Master and Fairy Tail. And real quick, a little rant. Fairy Tail gets a lot of hate from people. I'm currently reading through it for the first time, up to volume 14 now. And I love it. I think it's great. A lot of people just bash it. They're like, it's the power of friendship. It's every shonen trope, whatever. It's like, that's all shonen stuff, though. There's always tropes in it. That's all anime in general. There's like so many tropes in it. I mean, you just saw the little scene I showed you of Nino and Rebecca from the latest episode, episode 20. And that's a trope right there, isn't it? So, to the haters, just, piss off, would you? Let us have our fun. I've seen so many videos online of people saying, Eden Zero is just Fairy Tail in space. And to that, like, their comparison is probably just looking at the first chapter or the first volume, and you see similarities, right? You see on the cover here, you have Shiki, you have Happy, and you have Rebecca. And people are making the comparisons that Shiki is Natsu, Happy is Happy, and Rebecca is Lucy. When you look at Mashima's other works, he has a lot of, like, Easter eggs that he throws into each series. Of course, you had Rave Master way back in the day, which was his first work that went 35 volumes. I wish it was like reprinted or something, because there's no print copies available, and the ones that are super expensive. But in that series, you had another female character named Ellie, who, look at Ellie, Lucy, and Rebecca. They all look the same. I guess Mashima has a thing for busty blondes. I don't blame him, man. And in Eden Zero, Rebecca has a nice ass, too, and legs. You got to see with the Foot Brothers going crazy over her legs. But anyway, let's not get sidetracked. So you have that Easter egg. You have the character Plu, which appeared in Rave Master, and then again appears as a celestial spirit in Fairy Tail, and then also as a cameo in Eden Zero. Of course, you have Happy, which is a totally different character from Fairy Tail, because in Fairy Tail, he's Happy the cat. In Eden Zero, he's Happy the robot, and he's like a weapon to Rebecca, also, Rebecca's best friend. And when Rebecca goes into battle, she has Happy transform into the Happy Blasters, and he turns into two little pistols, which is pretty awesome. And if you look close enough at Happy, here's another Easter egg. See how the back of his tail there is black? In Fairy Tail, it's white, so that's the little difference there. Also, with Rave Master, you have the character Sig Hart, who looks just like Jalal. And then you have Jalal, who looks just like Justice once he powers up. In the anime, Justice has white hair, but when he powers up his Ether Gear ability, it actually turns from white to blue, looking just like Jalal, and he has that same marking on his face. So, a fun little Easter eggs there. I'm trying to think of what else. Getting into a little bit of spoiler territory early, but episode 12, the anime only goes up to episode 12 dubbed. In Japan, it's going up to episode 25 subbed for the first season, but at the end of episode 12, or rather, I think it's like halfway through, the Interstellar Army is discussing what happened on planet Gilst, and they mention the Dark Alchemist himself, the big bad, Draken Joe, and how he's a member of the Oration Seis Galactica. And again, if you know anything about Mashima and his prior works, the Oration Seis was a faction in Rave Master and in Fairy Tail, and it returns as a faction in Eden Zero, which is awesome, man. I love it. So, he's got its Easter eggs, and that's what he does. And, the fact of the matter is, Rave Master was 35 volumes, long-running series. Fairy Tail was 63 volumes, long-running series, and kind of still going on with the sequel series, Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest. I was going to call it Second Quest, 100-Year Quest. And Eden Zero, we have up to volume 11 here, which is up to chapter 95. However, not all the chapters are in print. They're actually up to chapter 156. So again, we haven't even seen the halfway point of this series. I wager we're going to go on for a very long time and see a lot of fun, exciting stuff. So anyway, the first 12 episodes of the English dub covers up to about halfway through volume 4. And quick little nitpick. This really bothers me. The fact that the first season in Japan is going to go up to episode 25, and they've already released episode 20, why not just wait another month and release both the sub and the dub on Netflix, as opposed to releasing the first 12 episodes here, and then the remaining episodes 13 to 25 in November or December, or whenever they plan to do it. Because, I binged watched it. I watched it in the span of 2 days, and as I got to the end of episode 12, I'm just like, no, I want more! And I have been watching the sub. But I do prefer the dub, and the voices all fit very well. You have Sean Chiplock voicing Shiki as the energetic young boy who wants to make 100 friends. That's his wish. And that again, people probably read the first volume and they're like, oh, it's the power of friendship. No, dude, it takes a pretty dark turn, especially around volume 6, which is where they're at in the anime subbed right now. So, you have Shiki, Sean Chiplock, who was in other animes. I was looking at his Wikipedia page. I didn't really recognize many of the animes, but he voices the main character in Trails of Cold Steel, so that's pretty cool. You have Tia Ballard returning, voicing Happy. Couldn't have it any other way. I mean, she voiced Happy for over 10 years in Fairy Tail, so why not have her return? Fits the role perfectly. You have Kira Buckland, who I looked at her Wikipedia page as well. Didn't really recognize much of anything, but she's been voice acting since like 2015, and did I think Sailor Moon I saw on there, like the redub for Netflix as well. And she does fine. Nice, cute voice as Rebecca. I mean, you saw the clip of Rebecca there with her Japanese voice actor, but she does a nice, cute little girl voice, so can't complain there. You have Weiss Steiner. I was calling him Wise when I was reading the manga, but it's actually Weiss. And he's voiced by Ray Chase, who you may know as Noctis from Final Fantasy 15, as well as some other anime. You have Robert McCollum return to voice Justice. Of course, the character that looks just like Jalal. Have Jalal voice that character, right? Fits perfectly. You have Colleen Clinkenbeard voicing Elsie Crimson. Of course, she voiced Urza, so only natural. John Eric Bentley, who I didn't really recognize the voice at first until I went to the Wikipedia page, but he voices the Demon King Ziggy, and like I said, I didn't really recognize it because you have a robot synthesizer over his voice. And if you don't know, he voiced Barrett in Final Fantasy VII Remake, did a fine job voicing Barrett, so it's great to see him getting more work now. And just great stuff. So the story, starts off with Shiki on this planet Granbell, after he was raised by the Demon King, and it's a planet inhabited by nothing but robots, and he's never met another human before. And you have Rebecca Bluegarden with her best friend Happy make their way to this planet. She is an aspiring B-Cuber, which is essentially this universe's YouTuber, Twitch streamer, whatever. And she wants to get 1 million subscribers. And there's actually a part later on, I think around, midway through Volume 3 on Planet Gilst, where they meet other B-Cubers who are all kidnapped or whatever. And they're comparing the subscribers, and they all have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And Rebecca has 105. And it's like, come on, dude, look at Rebecca. How does she only have 105? And, that's her goal in life. So she makes her way to the planet of Granbell and meets Shiki. And again, just like how Fairy Tail had the fan servicey stuff, and you read the manga, it's even more fan servicey than the anime dictates. But when Shiki meets Rebecca, he's like, I've never met a human before. He starts grabbing her cheeks and her face, and then he grabs her tits. And you get the classic anime, wow, sound effect. And it's absolutely hilarious. It's like, oh, you perv. So, there's a sort of uprising on the planet between the robots. And, they're sort of making it seem like they're against Shiki now and they want to steal Rebecca's ship, when in all actuality, their life support system is running low and they're going to shut off soon. So they cause a stir to get Shiki to defeat them and use his Ether Gear ability. All the main characters essentially have this ability known as Ether Gear, and it's all different. Shiki's is Gravity Ether Gear, so he can manipulate gravity. Rebecca, who you don't even find out in the anime, it's not even going to get to that point in the sub version, but she has Cat Leaper Ether Gear. We're going to leave it there because major spoilers for Volume 10. You have Weiss, who has Machina Maker Ether Gear, and he can manipulate machines. And once you get to Volume 8, he actually gets a mech suit there, the Arsenal mech suit. So, good stuff there. You have one of the antagonists early on, Jin. Let's see if I can show you him right here. And he uses Wind Ninjutsu Ether Gear. So everyone has their own abilities. and stuff like that. And eventually they make their way off the planet as the robots shut down. You know, that was their last wish, the last wish of the Demon King before he shut down. And he wanted Shiki to get off the planet and see the world at some point. And they make their way to the planet Blue Garden. And there's a lot of references to Fairy Tail there. There's the cameo where you can see Natsu and Lucy in the background. And when that scene happens, Rebecca is actually talking to Shiki about, oh, Guild, I remember watching a long anime about that back in the day. And then there's also cameos you can see in the background. As the series unfolds, you can see Levi, Jet, and Droy. You see Mira Jane in the background. I think you see Gray and Juvia, so it's cool to see all the cameos there. If I'm not mistaken, I think the same director who directed Fairy Tail is also doing the anime for this, so that's pretty cool. And then there's also the rival to Rebecca, Labilia, who is like the top B-cuber. She's got like 1 million subscribers, and then they meet Jin, who's basically after the cute B-cubers to find for Illiga, who's like this evil frog who lives on the planet Gilst. And he wants to kidnap them all, so they manage to kidnap Rebecca, and they make their way to that planet. Before that, though, getting a little ahead of myself, they meet Pino, who's the cute little android here. Let me just show you a scene. This is from the sub version. They haven't got to the anime yet, but eventually in episode 19, Pino meets Connor, who's a character you meet later on in the series, too. And this is great here. You ready for this?
Fuck you.
How are they going to do that dubbed, I wonder. But Pino is this cute little android who has EMP powers to disable electronics. So that's pretty cool. And there's also a scene when Pino utilizes this. They're going up against the villain Seabeer. And Pino uses this ability. And because Happy's a robot, Happy shuts down. And this is a great scene from the Japanese version as well. Ready? Happy! But he shuts down because he's a robot. And the story behind that, too, very tragic story. When Rebecca was young, she was abandoned and actually met Happy, who was also abandoned. And there was a tragic car accident where Happy got run over, and that's why he turned into a cyborg or a robot or whatever. And it was actually Weiss who repaired him. So, great little story right there. Very tear-jerking moment. I mean, Fairy Tail has that too, where you almost in the same episode, you're like laughing your ass off at a crazy scene like that, but then you get a tragic backstory and you want to cry. So, before they make it to the planet Gilst, they meet another character, Homura, who wields like a sword ether gear ability. And in the midst of all this, they acquire the Eden Zero ship, and their quest becomes that of obtaining the 4 shining stars. Initially on the ship, you have Witch, who's been on the ship. She's sort of the shield of the ship, and their next person they want to acquire is Witch, who appears as a villain at first on the planet Gilst, working with the mercenary group Rogue Out. And you also you meet Moscow, who he has a running gag throughout the whole series where he just shows up and he goes, Moscow, Moscow. And he has his belly button's always showing, and there's a big thing that says don't push, and all the characters are like tempting to push it, and anytime someone's gonna push it, he's like, Moscow. It's fucking hilarious. So there's all this random stuff, this random ragtag group of characters, and it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. I highly suggest, though, you do read the manga, because even though I've been praising the anime, I've read the manga twice, and I do prefer the manga, and I can't wait to see, as it unfolds further, because like I said, we got the first 12 episodes dubbed. The latter half, 13 to 25, is going to get volumes 5 to 8, which has the Digitalis and the Sun Jewel arc. And this, they go to the digital world, and you see they get new outfits and stuff. And then this one, and this is where they acquire Hermit, who's the 3rd member of the Shining Stars. Then this one, they meet Xiao Mei, who I was calling when I was reading it, I thought it was Xiamel. I thought the E, or the I at the end was actually an L, and I don't know what the hell. I guess I can't read or whatever. But this is sort of like the tournament arc with some foreshadowing, and you see Homura battle a replica of her mentor Valkyrie, and a lot of great stuff there. And then really, where the series really picks up, in my opinion, is volume 7 and 8, which is where they're at in the subbed version right now, on the Sun Joel arc, and you meet Madame Karine. Where is she? Right here. And wait till you learn about her as you watch the series. And again, you see Nino. Quick thing about Nino too. I want to show you this. That was what I showed you at the very beginning. There, I had that clip of the guy saying anime will save the universe. But Nino is actually a real life person who met Mashima and was put into the manga. And I think the story is absolutely terrific. So he's a German YouTuber. This video is entirely in German. And this is his channel right here. He has almost 500,000 subscribers. And he covers anime. I guess he has a book, too, on Amazon or whatever. But it looks like he puts out a video once a week or whatever. It's all in German, so I don't know what he's saying. But, it's awesome, man. So just check this video out. It's only a minute long. This was released 2 years ago when he was put in the manga. Because he first appears in Volume 7. So there he is.
Nach meinem Interview mit Mangaka Hiro Mashima auf der Leipziger Buchmesse 2019 fragte mich Mashima-san, ob er mich als Vorlage für einen Charakter in seinem aktuellen Werk Eden Zero benutzen darf. Natürlich habe ich dies ziemlich euphorisch sofort bejaht. Und nun taucht im aktuellen Kapitel des Mangas tatsächlich eine Figur auf, die nicht nur äußerlich an mich angelehnt ist. Die Rede ist von Nino, einem Beattuber, was in der Welt von Eden Zero das Pendant zu einem YouTuber ist. Nino ist ein leicht bekloppter Otaku, der einen Anime-Channel betreibt und glaubt, dass Anime das Weltall retten kann. Von einem solch bekannten Künstler in seinem Manga verewigt zu werden, ist schon eine Riesenehre. Vielen Dank an Hiro Mashima und auch den Carlsen Verlag. In diesem Sinne, Wibble Wobble.
Like long-running shonen, I feel like it always sort of starts out slow, but then gets pretty crazy. And with this, like I'm telling you, Volume 7 onward really goes insane. And in my opinion, Chapter 83 of Volume 10 is like, woo! You weren't expecting that at all. With Draken Joe, and halfway through episode 12, you get the scene with the Interstellar Army and Justice, and they're talking about Draken Joe after Gilst was destroyed by the chronophage, and they mention Draken Joe of the Russian Sace Galactica has escaped. It's fucking pretty badass. So, what else do I want to show you? So I also have this page open on Right Stuff, and I encourage you to once again check out the manga. They have up to Volume 11 released. I have, 12, 13, and 14 pre-ordered. And look at that. They already got action figures going for the Shiki Granbell figure. So they're all in stock, except for Volume 4. I guess because that's where the anime ends. And highly recommend. Look at this, Volume 13. It looks like this is like the intermission volume where they're hanging at the beach. Every anime has like the beach scene or whatever. But yeah, perfect amount of action, fans. I'll show you this scene too, the fan servicey scene that I have saved as well. Wow! I just love that sound effect too. Fucking awesome. So I love Eden Zero. I'm marking out. I highly recommend it. It's for the anime. It starts a little slow for anime onlys. That's why I suggest read the manga. And I've said in the past I prefer anime to manga, but in this case I prefer the manga. And just read it. You won't regret it. It's a lot of fun, and highly recommend it. Highly recommend the anime as well. And that's all I have to say. So thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And remember, there we go.
君のハートをポロポロしちゃうぞ。